All right. Well, we are making a white chicken chili, and it's done in our multi cooker, which is a pressure cooker. Well, among many things, it is a pressure cooker. I was actually having an interesting conversation with somebody on one of the groups I follow, and I posted this in on my page yesterday, how often people use a slow cooker. And it's amazing to me how often people use it. I'm married to a chef, so using a slow cooker has never really been in my realm of cooking, just because that's not the way we typically eat. But there are definitely recipes that are so well done in the slow cooker, like a good chuck roast. Actually did one last week with a recipe that Pamper Chef has that was phenomenal. Yeah, I'll have to do that one on a different night. It was so good. It was so easy, and it was all done in the multi cooker. So things like certain kinds of chilies and certain kinds of soups and things definitely are fantastic done in a slow cooker. What I love about this is that it has this, oh, you'll see it in a minute. It has the slow cooker capabilities, but it also does so many other things. It has the pressure cooker, which is what we're using tonight. It also has things like a yogurt setting. It has a dessert setting. And it has soups and stews, and you can do your dried beans, and you can, there's just so many different things you can do with this. So we'll talk about that in a minute. I got a little ahead of myself. But I would be curious, if you didn't comment on my other post, or even if you did, how often you use a slow cooker. But my other question is, how often do you use a pressure cooker? Do you have one? How often do you use it? What do you love about it? What do you love about using a pressure cooker, I guess, is what I really want to ask. So just throw that out there. So I have a few things going here. This recipe truly can be done in 30 minutes. If you're not talking to people online at the same time. I'm going to try to get it at least mostly going for you pretty quickly here, so that I'm not keeping you too long, but you also get a good idea of just how quickly this goes together. Because basically, once you get it in the pressure cooker, you're almost completely hands off. There's a little more prep, and then once it's done, you add a few ingredients and it's ready to serve. It's that easy and quick. So let's see if I can show you just how easy and quick it is here tonight. So as usual, some of the ingredients I have close enough. And one of those is that it does call for a green pepper. I don't have any green peppers in the house. I was not going to go buy a green pepper when I have all the other colors. So I'm using an orange pepper, but when you see the recipe, and I will post it later, when you see the recipe, you'll see it calls for a green pepper. So don't let that mess you up. You get to use whatever your little heart desires. And for me, that is this one. So sorry, I forgot to bring my little compost bin over here. We're going to just chunk this up, and we are going to put it in my new favorite small appliance, which is this new Twist and Chop. The recipe is going to say use the manual food processor. That works great. Our food chopper works great. And by the way, if you need a new food chopper for whatever reason, or you want to start early gifting for 2025, food choppers are on sale this month. So I want to make sure you check that out. This baby is also part of the January host special. So you'll want to check that out also. So we're going to put our pepper in there. We're going to put our onion. So the recipe calls for a medium onion. I always find those kinds of, I don't know, that's such a relative term. Like, what is a medium onion? How big is a medium onion? Maybe Google has an answer. This is a really big onion, and as much as I like onion, I'm not going to use the whole thing because it's a really big onion, and so I'm going to use half of it. The recipe also calls for jalapeno, and I am leaving that out completely tonight because I don't have any fresh jalapeno. I have a lot of frozen jalapeno, but I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not feeling the jalapeno vibe. And honestly, jalapeno is the one thing that still activates my asthma. which is ironic. I was just at the doctor today and said I hadn't used my rescue inhaler in a long time, but I would need it with jalapeno. So we're just going to leave it out tonight, but you get to do whatever you prefer. So we're throwing all of this into this lovely twist and chop, and we are going to just have this ready in seconds. So I hit the wrong button. This thing slays me every single time. I kind of overdid it. It said chop finely. These are finely chopped. It was that last one that did it. How fast was that? Is that just not amazing? It just blows my mind every time I do it. So we've got our onions ready. We're going to have, it calls for 2 cloves of garlic. This is a really big garlic clove. Again, this is, my husband grew these last year, and homegrown garlic tends to be really good size. So because the recipe calls for 2, I'm just using 1, and we're going to get that ready here. So let me move a few things around and get my multi-cooker in view. I have no idea why that's sitting there. And we'll get the rest of this recipe in the pot. So one of the things, I'm actually going to show you how I do this, how I truly do this, is my multi-cooker is usually plugged in to our sidewall over here where my appliances sit. I'm going to put it back here so I can plug it in here and not have to move it. I have an extension cord that runs over to my counter here, but I don't want it sitting on that for a long time. So now it's going to be hidden. Not sure how I like that. I have to move over here. No, that doesn't work either. Okay, well, here's what I want to show you, because this is what I do. I just take the pot out and do my prep work and then put it back in. So we have got all of this done. And of course, this is the one reason I need it out front, is because we are going to sear the onions and the pepper that I just chopped. So we are going to put it back in. We're going to hit sear. What does it say? Sear on, doesn't say, just heat. Press start for 3 minutes. So I always just have it on medium unless it says something different. It says 3 minutes. I'm doing it for a little more than 3 minutes because that's just the way I do it. Because it's never, yeah. That's just the way I do it. I don't know how to explain it. But I'm going to move it. So let me just cancel this. Turn it off. Unplug. Replug. I want you to be able to see it better. Boy, I take a couple weeks off and I'm just totally not doing it very well. All right, so we are back to on the island. And so we're going to turn it back on. A little on-off switch in the back. We're going to set it to sear. This is the tricky part, doing this backwards and upside down. Never have gotten good at that. All right. So you turn the button to set the time and to go between the settings. So there's the how many minutes you want it. And then there, for this setting, it's low, medium, high sear. So we're doing just medium because it didn't really say. And we're adding a tablespoon of oil. And we're going to let that heat up for a couple minutes before we add our onions. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to get the chicken ready to go. So let me just move a few things out of the way so I don't accidentally mess anything up. All right, so I actually really wanted to show you this tool because I don't talk about it very often, and it's fantastic. If you are doing new things this year that require you to weigh your food for whatever reason, for me, it's a lot of sourdough starter. This little scale is so handy, and I don't know if you can see how thin it is. It's designed to fit in a bookcase. So it slides in with my cookbooks when I'm not using it. It has the ability to do ounces, pounds, and grams, which for my sourdough grams is really important, or for baking bread, period. And then it also will tear. So I need to weigh out 1.5 pounds of chicken. roughly. And so I don't want to put the chicken right on the scale. So I'm putting it in my favorite little coating trays that I use for all the other things too. And I'm just setting it on here, and then I'm going to tare it. Tare, if you're not familiar with that word, it's going to take the weight back down to 0. So now it says 0 on the scale. So it's basically taken into account the weight of this tray. And now I can put my chicken in and get a pretty accurate measurement. So we're going to take our chicken here. And again, one of the things I love about this recipe is you just put the chicken in whole, and then we're going to chop it up when it's done. So I've just got some breasts here, and you could use chicken thighs if that's what you have on hand. Just they need to be boneless is all. Okay, and we're going to just put, these are big, so we want 1.5 pounds. So that's 14 ounces. Let me see if I can find a smaller one, slightly smaller. And actually I'm going to change this to pounds. And this is 1.68, so a little over 1.5 pounds. I'm going to call that good, but it's so handy because again, you can weigh things on it, and you can put, you know, your salad plate or your soup bowl or whatever on here, hit that tare button. It'll take it back down to 0 and then weigh out whatever it is you're weighing out and get a really accurate measurement. And again, it goes pounds, ounces, and grams. So really, really convenient. So I want to make sure I showed this to you because it's one of those things, I call it one of our unsung heroes. It's like the meat tenderizer. Never gets any attention, but it's so awesome. All right, I can hear this sizzling, so we're going to go ahead and add our vegetables. I forgot to get any scrapers out. That wasn't very good planning. I have mentioned that this is completely dishwasher safe, right? I've mentioned that. I also mentioned that another one of those goodies you can get this month with your host bennies. So speaking of host benefits, friends, would you believe this is one of my top 3 months of the whole year to host a party? My hosts have so much success when they host in January. It is seriously, my top 3 months are so ironic. January, November, that's kind of obvious, and sometimes May or June. Depends on like when school gets out and when Memorial Day falls and those kind of things. But those are my 3 top months of the year. That doesn't mean the other months are bad. I'm just saying those are my 3 top. And January is the one that everybody's like, seriously, hosting in January is a good idea? Yes, and let me tell you why. Number 1, your friends will be so thrilled. No kidding. I have a party that started on Monday. 2 different people in the party texted me to say, I'm so excited Danielle's hosting because I needed some things. So just because the holidays have just happened doesn't mean people don't still need things. If anything, the last 2 months they were spending on everybody else. And here's the thing, now they need to spend on themselves, and they want to spend on themselves. And for so many who are trying to cook healthier now that the holidays are over, having the right tools makes the big difference. So number 1 reason is because your friends are going to be thrilled that you're hosting in January. Okay? That's all about them. Let's talk about you. Actually, there's more about them, but we're going to talk about you for a minute. When you host in January, you can earn double free products. So what does that mean? My average host any other time of the year earns about $140 in free products. My average host in January earns over $400 in free products. Do you know what you can get with $400 in free products? You can get an entire set of cookware for free. You can get this multi-cooker for free. Or you can just get a whole lot of little this, that, and the next thing for free. A couple years ago, was it right before Hannah moved to Uganda or right after? I was heading over. So I think it was right before she had her first baby. We did an online party for her. She was living in Uganda, but I was heading over, and so we did the online party. All of her friends over there were elated to be able to order, and then I just took bins of Pampered Chef to Uganda that year, and she earned like $600 in free products. So it is a prime month to host a party. Your friends are going to love it. Our January theme, which I can never seem to remember what it is, and it's so darn cute. What is the January theme? Oh my goodness, I am such a ditz sometimes. Oh, it's reset. It's January reset is our theme, and now I need to get back to where I was. The free e-cookbook that all your guests will get and you will get has this recipe and a bunch of others in it that are all about quick, easy things you can get on the table for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in January. So seriously consider it, because I get the most joy out of helping you get so much free in January and helping your friends and family get the things they need to do their own healthy cooking through these winter months. So one of the main reasons I chose this recipe is not only because it's in that cookbook and it's a really low-cal healthy recipe, but it checks all the boxes. Because what's the other thing we really want in January? Yes, we want to eat healthier, but it is freezing outside and we really want those comfort foods, right? And this is such a perfect example of a comfort food that doesn't mess up your diet plan, doesn't mess up your healthy eating goals. It just has that sweet spot of comfort food and good for you ingredients that will make your tummy so warm, and your family's gonna love it. It's so good. It's so good, and it's so easy. All right, enough of that. I will just keep going on that, and you'll be like, can we ever finish this recipe? So we just pressed the garlic in, and now we're gonna add everything else. We are going to add the chicken, which, by the way, we're just putting it in whole, okay? And here's another little tip. This is thankfully thawed chicken. It's not frozen. But if you decided you want to make this, and like me, it's 4 o'clock and your chicken's still frozen, no problem. All you do is add 10 minutes to the cycle. That's all you do. And your frozen chicken will be cooked and happy and fine and good to go. So not a problem if you forget to thaw the chicken. You just, I hope I did this right. I forgot to put I forgot to put the flour in before the chicken. So hold on a second, friends. I get so excited. I don't pay attention to what I'm supposed to be doing. You've never known me to do that before, have you? So we're just going to grab that little tray again. We're going to take the chicken out. We're going to hit cancel. Can I do this backwards? I don't think I can. Cancel. There we go. Take the chicken out. Come on. These tongs and I, we have a interesting relationship. I have love-hate would be the right word. They're awesome, but I can never seem to get that magnet thing to do what I want it to do. 2 tablespoons of flour going in, mixing that up. And what that's going to do is coating the vegetables, and then it's going to make what's called a roux, which if you watched my demos in the fall before the holidays, I taught you how to make a roux. If you're like, I don't remember seeing that one, scroll down or send me a text and I'll send you the YouTube video. All right, now we can put the chicken in. Get this out of the way. I know, I may have mentioned these before, but these coating trays, this set of 3, constant use in my kitchen. Constant. There's almost always something in the fridge thawing in one of these trays. All right, we got that in there. We are going to add the chicken, the broth, the corn, and seasoning. So chicken, we have broth. Where did I put it? Here we go. So this is Ken's homemade broth. So we're just pouring that in. Nice low sodium. We have corn, frozen freezer corn. Okay. Cup of that. And we need our Southwestern seasoning, which I think is upstairs. And I didn't even think about it. So we're going to use the chipotle instead. This falls into the category of close enough, just like that orange pepper. 1 tablespoon. So if you're not familiar, these caps actually measure 2 tablespoons. So if you need 1 tablespoon, just use half a cap. And there we have it. Ready to go. We're going to just give this a little stir. We are going to put the lid on. And we're going to set it to the soup setting and press start. Okay, so I cannot do this backwards, sorry. So we're turning it to the soup setting right up here. There's 12 settings, friends, including a sterilize. How cool is that? And then we're going to actually change. It says it automatically goes to 30, but the recipe says we only need 8. Now remember, if your chicken is thawed, no problem. Just add 10 minutes. But if your chicken is not, if your chicken is frozen, add 10 minutes. I'm not sure I said that right. But if it's fresh, like ours tonight, just set for the 8 minutes. You're good to go. It takes about 10 minutes to come up to pressure. So it's not going to be quite ready in 8 minutes, but coming up to, if you take the cook time of sauteing the veggies, adding the flour, mixing it in, putting your chicken and everything in, setting it for the 8 minutes, add another 10. So now you're up to 18. And then at the end, we literally are going to put in some milk, some cheese, and a can of Great Northern beans. And it's going to be ready to serve. And here's one of the things I love about how this recipe is written. It's going to be super hot, right, when it's done. And so when we add the milk and the beans, it's going to bring it down to an edible temperature, which means you can eat it more quickly. You can get it on the table of your family more quickly. It is such a brilliantly written recipe, in my opinion, just for that reason alone. So what's going to happen here is once this goes off, which is going to take another 15 minutes or so. So I'll just post pictures when it's done. We're going to hit cancel, press the steam release button, which is down here, not up when the steam release is. That's a big safety factor we built into this baby. So your hands are never near the steam release. The button's way down here, okay? And I don't know if you noticed when I was moving it, the handles are down here instead of up here so that it's not top heavy and it's just a lot easier to move, especially if you are using it for a slow cooker and you've got a big pot of spaghetti sauce in here or chili and you're taking it to the Super Bowl game at your friend's house. It's so easy to carry this thing. And it stays cool to touch, okay? So you don't have to worry about burning your hands anywhere on it. You don't have to worry about, putting the bread bag too close and now it's melted all over it. That will never happen with this thing. And the way this screws on, it is like locked on there. Like there are multiple layers of stainless gaskets. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not an engineer. That it locks in place. It's not just snapped in place, friends. It is locked in place. When it is up to pressure, there is absolutely no way this thing can come off. I mean, I think Armageddon could happen. And this thing still, the lid won't come off unless the pressure is released and then you have to turn it to get it off. And now it's easy once the pressure's off, but my point is you're never going to have to worry about the lid flying off at an inappropriate time, like in the middle of a baby shower, which is a story I actually have been told about a different kind of pressure cooker. It is so durably made. It is so smartly designed. And it does so many more things besides pressure cooker. Like I said, it is a slow cooker. It is a steamer. It sanitizes. There's settings for beef and poultry. So like, another one of my favorites is if you forgot to thaw the chicken for dinner, right? You forgot to even think about dinner and it's 5:30 and you've walked in the door and you're hungry and everybody's a little bit hangry. That I have to tell you a funny story about that actually. And anyway, and you're like, what do I do? What do I do? You take some frozen chicken or pork chops. This works well with pork chops too. Put them in here. Dump a jar of salsa or a jar of spaghetti sauce or a jar of teriyaki sauce or whatever flavor you're in the mood for or happen to have in the cupboard that moment. Set this to the chicken setting. Set it for an extra 10 minutes because your meat is frozen and push start. While that's doing its thing, you can make a pot of rice, which by the way, this also makes rice. You just can't in that particular setting. Well, you could actually. You could make it at the same time. You could, because there's this cool ceramic pot that can sit on top of your chicken and you cook your rice in that cool ceramic pot. We might just have to do that someday so you can see this. This thing is phenomenal. But it's making me think I want to talk about something else too. So, funny story. I was at Bible study yesterday morning and we were talking about one of the chapters in Matthew, and it's actually the second time that Jesus feeds like 7,000 people or 5,000 people with, 5 loaves and 2 fish or something like that. There's 2 different times he does it, and I never remember the exact proportions of things, but it doesn't matter. It was a lot of people with a little bit of food, okay? So anyway, this is in chapter 14 of the book of Matthew, if you're familiar with the Bible or interested. And the disciples come to him. It's been a very long day. There's a lot of other stuff that's gone on. Everybody's tired. And the disciples come to him and say, Lord, these people we need to send them home. They're going to be hungry. It's getting late and they need to go find food. And he says to the disciples, well, you feed them. And they're like, but Lord, we don't have anything. We have like 2 fish and 5 stale loaves of bread. And Jesus, proceeds to say, bring it to me. And then he feeds everybody with those 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, right? There's the miracle, right? So awesome and amazing. And it came up in our study yesterday, like how the disciples must have been feeling at that moment. And somebody said, and I thought this was brilliant, they were probably a little hangry. And I thought, yes, the disciples were hangry, and that's why they just, they didn't want to have to deal with it. Like, well, we're hangry, we don't want to deal with it, right? We just want someone to feed us the food. And this is the magic ingredient for helping you get that done. So, speaking of, I actually posted this in my stories last night, and maybe next week we will do a recipe with it. I would love to know who all has this. And you're all like, what are you talking about? This is possibly my absolute favorite. I mean, I really love this too. And I use the air fryer pretty much every day. And the stand mixer a couple times a week at least. And, you saw me with the choppy thing and you twist and chop. But this is that thing that I may not use it every day. I may not even use it every week. But when I need a cooking blender, and this time of the year is the time I use it the most because it will make great cream soups in here. I have a broccoli cheddar soup, a tomato soup, potato soup, all the different kinds of soups. I use it to make my peanut butter. I use it to make things like spaghetti sauce. And here's what's so great about it. It cooks in the blender. So there's none of this cooking on the stovetop and then carefully ladle into your blender to puree. You literally throw the ingredients in, put the lid on, set the dial, push start, and it makes it for you. So again, if you're looking for ways to cut back and eat healthier, cut back on your takeout or eating out budget. That's the other thing we do at the beginning of the year, right? Is we look at our budgets and we go, where can we save a little money? Where can we cut back? This is going to pay for itself. This is going to pay for itself. All you have to do is a couple nights not go through the drive-through because you now know that you can put frozen chicken or pork chops in here and have dinner in 30 minutes. Any of those things, it's going to pay for itself in a couple months, if not faster. So talk to me. If this would be helpful to you, talk to me. I can show you how to get it. Either you can pay full price if you want, or I can help you get it at half price or less. Whatever works for you. I know for some people, you just simply pay the full price, and that's totally fine. There is no reason not to. There is no reason not to. I was talking to somebody just a couple weeks ago, and she's like, I just want to order what I want to order when I want to order it. Not that price isn't important, but certainly things like this, the value you're getting, it is not, we don't make the markdown for Host because it's overpriced. It is not overpriced. I finally got smart and started doing some comparison shopping. Not even close to overpriced. If anything, it's underpriced. But so to pay full price for it there is absolutely no shame in doing that, because I do that at Costco all the time, right? I don't wait for somebody to say, hey, I'll give you 60% off if you bring 5 friends in with you next time you come. I wish they would. I have some things on my list. But that's what Pampered Chef does. So you can either buy it outright, which for some of you, that's going to be your best option. Or we can gather some friends in the online party platform that Pampered Chef has created that's so beautiful and so fun and so cute, and so many recipes and so much other product information. Have a few friends, join your online party, and you can get this for half price or less, and I will work with you to make sure that that happens. So all those options out there for you. This is going to, it's coming up to pressure now, and you'll notice that it is releasing some steam. Not to worry, that is very normal. I think that's actually a good thing, okay? So don't panic about that. That's just doing its thing. When it is done, we are going to add a cup of milk. We're going to add the can of beans, and we are going to add some cheddar cheese. So let me just show you real quick. Obviously, you just saw me pour the cup of milk. I actually want to show you what not to do with the can of beans. So, funny story. I had the wrong can out a minute ago. I had navy beans out. And it has one of those pop tabs on it. If you have not heard my speech about pop tabs, you're going to hear it now. Don't use them unless you like getting stitches, okay? Especially don't let a child use them or an elderly person use them. And if you are on blood thinners, absolutely you are not allowed to use the pop tab. It is so dangerous. Instead, you're going to use your fantastic smooth edge can opener, just like this. It's going to take our top off. Even the pop tab tops, they're all sealed on the same way. So you just take it off with this, and it has a little wrench that'll take your lid off, although that one kind of popped off on its own. And now we have a smooth edge. And here's the reason why the edge is smooth. These don't cut the lid off. They break the seal on the can. I'm guessing a lot of you are familiar with home canning. Most of you have probably done it in some capacity. And you know what you do. You put the lid on and you put it in a hot water bath to seal it. That's exactly how, well, not exactly, but that's the same concept for your canned goods. That's just a lid that's sealed on top of the can, and this breaks the seal. And that's why there's no sharp edges, because nothing has been cut. So keep things safe by using a smooth edge can opener. And if you need one, you know where to find one. I'm right here to help. And the last thing we're going to do is grate some cheese. And I was going to be really, oh, here it is. Never mind. I was going to be really smart and use the scale again to grate the cheese. And I thought I'd put it way far away. But there it was, right there. So here's a trick. You can do it backwards. So I need 4 ounces of grated cheese. And truth be told, if I wasn't talking to you, I would not be measuring this. But 4 ounces. So right now there is 22 ounces, 22 and a half ounces of cheese still in this big package. And I need 4 ounces. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just kind of give it an eyeball of what I think is going to be 4 ounces. Okay. And 22 minus 4 is going to be 18 and a half. This is 22 and a half. Oh my word. This is almost exactly 4 ounces. It's 3 ounces and 3.9 ounces of cheese. So I guess I'm getting pretty good at eyeballing 4 ounces of cheese. And we're going to just shred this up with the cheese grater. Now, truth is I'll probably grate a little bit more because is there ever so much cheese? Is there ever too much cheese on top of your soup? I don't think so. So this will all go in when this is done, and it will be ready to serve. The recipe talks about a couple things you can garnish it with. I will be using sour cream and cilantro leaves. Those are our favorite things. And I'll be serving it up with some tortilla chips because I happen to have some. Bread, sourdough bread, if you have it, is a really great thing to pair this with. Like, listen to me, like we're pairing wine. We're going to pair sourdough bread with our white chicken chili, and it will be lovely. It'll have such a great I don't know, what do they call that in the mouth? I can't drink wine. I'm allergic to it. So I watch my husband and my kids enjoy it and go, oh, that looks lovely. And they talk about there's something that happens with your tongue on wine. That's how I am with bread. So, all right. So this is just about ready to go. Let me see how many minutes we have left. 7. So it looks like it just came up to pressure, which makes sense. So in approximately 7 minutes, I will press the release. We'll add the rest of these ingredients. I'll stir it up and ladle it out, and our dinner will be ready. So I hope you've enjoyed this recipe. If you have questions about it, comments, thoughts, I would never eat this is your comment. That's okay. My family might love this. That's okay. Can you substitute turkey, all that leftover turkey? Whatever questions you have, please feel free to ask because that's what I'm here for. Thank you again for joining me live. If you are part of Danielle's party this week, please make sure you let me know that you watched so that I can award you extra tickets towards the party door prize. So don't forget to do that, okay? All right, guys, I'll be back next Thursday night with, I think we're going to do something in that cooking blender because that is an unsung hero in our product line that is a game changer. Absolutely, hands down, will change a lot of the things that you do in your kitchen and save you so much time. So I'm already formulating thoughts. Yeah, we're going to do that. So I'll see you next week. And I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.